We've truly entered a golden age of viral double features. In 2023, we had Barbenheimer, followed by the less celebrated Saw Patrol, and now we find ourselves at Glicked, formerly Moaned before Moana 2 did the logical thing and moved to the following weekend. The sequel to Ridley Scott's Roman epic going up against one of the most anticipated film adaptations and one of the most acclaimed musicals in history. Will they complement each other at the box office, or will the hype of one cause the other to crumble? Honestly, it's kinda hard to tell with these two. They both have about the same level of hype and expectations, both are citing themselves as epics in their respective genres, and both are about the same length, clocking in at just under 3 hours. Props to you if you decide to see them back to back, because that sounds exhausting. Either way, I saw them both this weekend, so here are my thoughts. Starting off with Wicked. Directed by John M. Chu, this is part 1 of the film adaptation of the Broadway musical based on the book detailing the untold story of the Wicked Witch of the West. I genuinely had no clue what to make of this movie going in. I haven't seen the stage show and I haven't read the book, so I wasn't really going in with a purist mindset. Even with that said, movie musicals kind of have a mixed track record, and while I enjoyed this director's previous go-around, I was going in with tampered expectations. And after watching it, I'm happy to report that it was much better than I thought it would be. I had a really good time with this movie. The visuals are vibrant and colorful, even if the CG is a bit hit or miss. The film moves at a really good pace, and despite being 2 hours and 40 minutes, you really don't feel the runtime. The songs are all certified bangers, and the sequences around them are shot and edited really nicely. A lot of movie musicals struggle when shooting musical numbers, turning something that's supposed to be energetic and lively into something static and monotonous. But you can tell between this and the In the Heights movie that Chu knows how to make a musical number look really cool. The performances are also great across the board. Even though she kinda made an ass of herself with the whole fan edit poster controversy, Cynthia Erivo is unsurprisingly fantastic as Elphaba. I thought I would be annoyed by Ariana Grande, which I know is kind of the point of her character, but she did grow on me as the movie went on. She had really good comedic timing, and her and Cynthia have really good chemistry. The movie showcases their budding rivalry turned endearing friendship really naturally, and you do feel for both characters when it gets into some of the more heavier moments. And there is still a whole second part yet to be seen. That is my one concern with this being a two-parter. Considering how dense this first part is, how much of the second part will just be unnecessarily padded, and will it be able to keep up the momentum that part 1 leaves you with? Obviously, only time will tell, but I hope part 2 delivers because this was a great first act. I'm curious to see what fans of the show think of it, but speaking as a non-fan, it was a really great time. I'd give it a 4 out of 5. Next up is Gladiator 2, released 24 years after the first movie and once again directed by Ridley Scott. I watched the first Gladiator for the first time before seeing the sequel, and I thought it was pretty good. The action was awesome, despite it having that early 2000s editing style that was pretty hit or miss. The story is epic, the characters are compelling, and the actors all do great. It's a classic for a reason, and I rated it a 4 out of 5. And with such a tough act to follow, how does Gladiator 2 fare? It was alright. It wasn't bad, but it was certainly unnecessary and not nearly as good as the first. The scenes in the arena are of course amped up with higher stakes, bigger dangers, and while I like the simplicity of the gladiator fights in the first movie, I can appreciate how over the top these get. The performances, for the most part, were also pretty solid. Joseph Quinn and Fred Hetchinger in particular were very entertaining and scenery chewing, and Denzel Washington is of course a joy to watch. The movie does kind of suffer from a bit of deja vu. There is a lot of repeating from the first movie, and the characters go through very similar arcs as the original. Only this time they aren't nearly as interesting because their motivations flip-flop so often. While Paul Mescal is trying his best, I just didn't really buy anything that Lucius was saying, and I didn't really care about his journey. The movie also felt much longer than it actually was, and outside of the fight scenes, there wasn't a whole lot keeping me invested. Ultimately, like I said, the movie isn't terrible. It's good. It just wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, given the high bar set by the first one. I'm sat between a 3 and a 3.5. Because of how strong the action and some of the performances are, I'll leave it as a 3.5, but that might change over time. And that does it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments if you're going to see Glicked this weekend. If you have seen it, which did you like better? And if you haven't seen it, which are you seeing first? Let me know all that stuff down below, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon.